So, there's officially less than 2 weeks until Witch Queen drops. If you're looking to beat Master Atheon with or without the challenge within this time for time lost weapons, you're in luck because we're digging into the most optimal team build and strategies to beat Master Atheon before Witch Queen drops. The only thing I recommend before trying this encounter is to have your light level up to 1345 or higher. If you're not at this light level, or if you're really struggling to find a really good fire team, I have a Twitch channel that I can recommend you to check out for help with this encounter in the description below. Before we continue, there's 95% of my viewers that have seen my content within the last 28 days that have not subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you want to continue seeing more useful content for this channel, dropping a sub would greatly help me with my goal in providing high quality Destiny content. The main thing that I believe makes this channel unique is the ability to skip around the video for certain parts that my viewers are interested in. Now, when it comes to the overall team build, we're going to break this down by subclasses, weapons, and mods that you ideally want to bring within your fire team for this encounter. Starting with subclasses, I strongly recommend that your fire team has one Titan bubble with Helm of Saint 14, at least 2 warlocks with Well of Radiance, with Luna faction boots, and a stasis warlock or hunter. The last 1 or 2 fire team members can either be a DPS subclass like Superman Titan with Curious, another stasis player to keep focusing lens on the boss longer, or a really good ad clearing super once DPS is over. When it comes to weapons, you're going to want one of the Well Warlocks or Titan Bubble to run a Kinetic Scout, Divinity, and a Machine Gun to help with ad clear and shoot oracles, which we'll get to later in the video. For everyone else, you'll want a Reed's Regret with Firing Line or Sleeper Simulant with one of the following pairs of weapons. Arbalest with an Arc Scout Rifle, an Arc Fusion Rifle with a Kinetic Scout Rifle, or an Arc Scout Rifle with a Kinetic Sniper Rifle. You also want Boss Spec or Adept Big Ones on your heavy and special weapons, then Major Spec on your primary. With this build, you'll be able to do a lot of damage with your weapons instead of having to rely on supers and 1k voices for damage, which usually gets used after one good damage phase. This is really important because of how much health Atheon has in this encounter. For armor mods, you're going to want Protective Light, double concussive dampeners, or a concussive dampener with Void Resist, Taking Charge, and Particle Deconstruction. You also want to slap on double linear ammo finders and 1 ammo scavenger. If you're a Titan that yeets or a Warlock with a healing crutch of damage, you could also run Focusing Lens. Yeet Yourself meta damage can also run Energy Converter along with Supercharged and Charged Up to maximize the amount of times they can show their glory in yeeting themselves into Atheon's chest for massive amounts of DPS. In order to optimize the performance of this mod, you'll want to throw your grenade as soon as you make contact with Atheon. Keep in mind that you won't benefit much from Energy Converter if you don't get charged with light times 5. You also want to make sure that you throw your grenade as soon as you can because once you get at least halfway to your super, Energy Converter does absolutely nothing for regenerating the rest of your super. The wording of this mod is very crucial, but going into detail would take way too long for this video. If you're really curious about how this works, there's a video in the description for you to check out. Now, I know that most of you aren't going to have people that are flexible to the characters they could bring in, let alone everyone having every single mod, weapon, and armor piece for this encounter. I'm not saying that it's do or die to have this team build, but every edge that you can get for survivability and damage can be the difference maker between a wipe and finishing the encounter, or 2-phase instead of a 3-phase, or 3-phase instead of a 4-phase, or even a 4-phase instead of wiping. If for some godforsaken reason this is you, bless your soul. Now that we have our team build together, let's talk about how to do this encounter. The encounter starts when we shoot this box. For a minute or so, everyone will just be focusing on ad clear until 3 people get teleported into Mars, which looks red and desert-like, or Venus, which looks green and filled with light. For the people that are not teleported in, you'll need to do these 3 things. Survive. Read the order of 3 sets of 3 oracles for the people within the portal and open the Mars or Venus portal depending on which side people get teleported into. The first step seems obvious, but any experienced fire team with this encounter will probably say that having people dying outside of the portal is one of the most challenging things to recover from. When you're down a player, a third of your ability to add clear and potential to call out oracles is dead, and getting them back up without dying yourself is even more challenging, especially when you're doing this encounter on Master Mode. When it comes to oracles, you'll need to let the people inside Venus or Mars know what order to shoot the oracles. There's 3 oracles that will spawn in the 6 locations on this picture here. To keep things simple, we'll keep callouts focused within left, middle, and right, along with close and far from the back of the room's perspective looking toward Atheon. To make things even more simple, all you need to do for the people inside is call out the order of the first 2 oracles instead of all 3, since the last one can be shot by process of elimination. Now, when it comes to getting the portals open, I find it best if everyone makes a team effort hanging out on the left for Mars or right for Venus to get the portal open. When everyone's on one side like this, you can work as a fire team to call out the order of the oracles while fighting off any exploding harpies that might try and blow you up in the meantime. After the portal opens, you have two options. You can either jump up to the top of this wall in the back of the room, or you can hold the fort on the right or left side portals until all 3 waves of oracles are taken care of. The only thing you don't want to do when you're outside of the portal is split up, since that typically leads to someone taking a lot more aggro and dying. Now, for the people that get teleported inside, you'll need to do the following as fast as you can. Let the people with Atheon know if you're in Mars, which is desert-like, or Venus, which is life-like. Pick up the relic. Kill the gatekeeper. Run to the back of the room as fast as you can. Cleanse everyone with the relic by holding block, and shoot the 3 waves of oracles in the right order. If you're doing Atheon challenge, the best way to make sure you're not mixing up the oracles is for the relic holder to shoot the last oracle, and for the other 2 players to communicate about shooting the first or second oracles. If you're not worried about Atheon challenge, you could just shoot the oracles in the order which they're called out. Once all 3 waves of oracles are shot, you can head out of the portal that was opened, head directly to the middle platform for a cleanse, and do as much DPS as you can to Atheon before you becomes immune. One thing that's very important to keep in mind is that damage starts once you break the very last oracle on the 3rd wave. For the people outside of the portal, you want to drop a well of radiance and bubble in the middle island when you see the first oracle of the last wave break into feed on the bottom left. You can also throw a stasis turret or hunter super on the boss to proc focusing lens and thunder crash as soon as you see the 3rd oracle break, which signals the DPS phase. From there, everyone will focus on DPS with their linears and best DPS, while Divinity makes a crit spot for everyone to hit, which will do an insane amount of DPS if you're running everything that was mentioned in the weapons section of this video, which is listed at 126 in the video if you want to quickly revisit that. While you are doing DPS, there's one more mechanic that is extremely important to watch for. Within the fire team, one of the 6 people will randomly start to glow and get a debuff that may or may not show where their buffs or debuffs are listed on the left side of your screen. If this happens to you, you'll need to jump to this ledge here. If this person stays in the middle, they will detain everyone that is trying to do damage to the boss. If everyone's detained, the run ends, so be aware of this debuff while you're doing damage. After you get stuck in the big ball of glass, someone, ideally the person with the relic, will shoot you out so that you could go back to doing DPS. After the damage phase is over, everyone should stay in the middle and clear as many ads on one side as possible, then clear out the other side from there. If you have ad clear supers, those would definitely be useful here as well. From there, you rinse and repeat this process until you kill Atheon. That's going to be a wrap on this video. If you're interested in seeing more content, I'd greatly appreciate if you dropped a sub to the channel. Also remember to check out my friend's Twitch channel if you're struggling to do Master Atheon. They also offer help with this encounter whenever the challenge is around for the week. Last and certainly not least, please put me in a YouTube challenge, Mr. Beast. Thanks.